Hi, I'm Rick Toby with RST Fishing Innovations, and I'm here to show you how to install your Easy Ducer today. There's a few steps that we're going to have to go through. Everything here is compatible with XLR products. The first thing that we're going to show you here is how to mount it to the Ultra case. The Ultra case is what the Easy Ducer has been designed to mount on. You can mount it on the Pro Pack and Against box. I'll show you that later, but they require some bracketing because they're not as stiff. So what we'll do here first is we will go grab your unit. You're going to have to pull the transducer off the back of your XLR unit and pull it off. In the bag, when you open the bag, you're going to have several items in your bag, and the first item that we're going to use is going to be the rubber stoppers to show you guys how to put those on. You're going to need a needle nose pliers. Slide the ring onto the needle nose pliers. You use it to separate and pull the ring out. The ring has to fit over the end of your transducer on the end of the connection here. So if you try to do this any other way, you have a good chance that you're going to break them. The most important thing is that you don't break them and they get on here. But open it up, push it onto the first step here. As you can see, it is tight, but if you get it over the edge, you should be good. Once you get it to this point, you can grab the small screwdriver, and I'll go through all the list of the tools here, and just put it over the top here. You're not done yet. There is a groove on the back side here that you want to get over. So keep the screwdriver in it and slide it down and get it over that groove so it doesn't hang up in the groove. That's all we're doing. There it is, it's on. Okay. After it's on, I have this cord already set up with a stop on here, and that's what it should look like. But what you're going to do is in the bag, you have some slit latex black tubing here. You wrap it around your cord. Okay, once you've wrapped it on your cord, you grab the ring, hold it by the slit end together here, it's easier, and then just roll it over the edge. Okay. And if you have the second one, you do it on both sides. I like to use both stops, put two rings, put another ring right here, so when you're done it looks like this. It won't slide at all when you have it like this. I also recommend taking all your rings, sliding them on and putting them on. Even if you're not going to use them as stops, keep them slid up to the top here inside the spool when we make the connection. Then if anything breaks or anything happens, all you have to do is slide the next one down and you can use it. Okay, when you open your bag, you'll find the installation instructions in here. Go through them. They are important. I will talk about all the important points, but there is stuff in here that you can refer to and it has pictures for you. When you open the bag, you're going to have two remotes. You're going to have a strip of Velcro. You're going to have a spacer in case you have the plastic connectors on the end of your transducer. This is the metal connectors on the end of the transducer. Any of the newer models, like from the FL22 and up, is going to have the plastic connectors, and you will need the spacer. There's a bigger diameter on the plastic connectors, and for the cover to fit, you're going to need the spacer on there. It has the longer screws to go with it. If you don't need the spacer and you got the metal connectors, you got the 3 screws for the cover. Got a 5 amp fuse that you put in line. We have 2 fork connectors here. Those are used in the Ultra case, so you can hook up to the on-off switch. You know, it's the area where you charge and recharge. Also 2 piggyback spade-style connectors that you can use for the Against pack or the Pro pack. You will need these to put on and connect to your things. I have a couple wire nuts in case you want to use a couple wire nuts. I use them because I like to take it on and off. We have 2 of the green rubber bumpers that go on first onto the transducer if you want to. It can be used as a stop. They do roll over the top of these and it does make a nice stop. You have your multicolored rings. You know, I've already put the one on here, the yellow one on here, but you put them all on. And these rings are for the stop, and I explained the stop here earlier. There is a rubber band here also. The rubber band we're going to use later. It goes around the spool to help the line when it's on there from uncoiling, and it'll behave much better with this on here. So the next step that we have to do here is we have to go and open up actually come here to the left side. I already have had this mounted on here, so you're not going to see me drill all the holes, but we'll go over the tools here quick. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. Obviously, you're going to need the needle nose pliers, some type of crimping tool, a small screwdriver. I have a 3/8 socket here. It can be any type of wrench. It can even be just the pliers, and that will work too. So then you need a drill, and you're going to need a drill with a 1/4 inch drill, and you're also going to need a 3/32 inch drill at the end when you have to put the screws in for the cover. But the first thing that we want to do here is we want to come up to the top of the case here. And I'll even put a little thing on here so you can see how high this is. But it's going to come up about 8 inches or so. There's a little extra here that's on here. But before the case starts to radius away from you and start to curve, that's where the top bolt would be. And if you come off this back edge and you come in about 3/8 of an inch or so, that's going to be the best place to mount it. It needs to be mounted to the back here. If it's not mounted to the back here, when you're done, it won't come to the back here, so you can store the transducer when you're finished. So the first thing you want to do is take your drill, line up the hole that you want. You can see how this lines up here. You're going to drill, and you're going to drill your first hole and drill it through. Okay. When you have your first hole drilled, we have a nut. I'm going to bolt here, a washer. Put the bolt in the washer. Put it through the top hole. With the top hole, and if you can see on these cases sort of come back in a little bit here. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take a washer, maybe even 2 if you go up a little bit higher, but a washer or 2 should do it. You want to come up, put that in between here because it's going to bring you back to level, otherwise it's going to tip it back in. This being level is important all directions. So we just want to put that in there, grab the lock nut in the washer, put the washer on, put the lock nut on, grab your Phillips. Okay, I didn't tighten that all the way yet. What you're going to want to do at this point is you're going to want to grab the easy ducer and get it so when we shoot the second hole here, what we're looking for is level. In anything, we want this thing to be tipped this way, not this way. You tip down this way, you're going to run into problems, and I'll explain that later. So we want to be level, so when we move this all the way around, it'll be level in all directions that we move it. If anything, we want to tip it back just a little bit this way because most people are going to fish out in front and it will behave better. But once we have it level, we get the level, okay, and then we go and we shoot the second hole. Okay, after we're done drilling the second hole, we grab the other bolt, another washer, through the bottom hole. Right on. And what you want to do is just take them and tighten them up. But I want to make sure, and obviously start with a level surface, so when you're making the level, everything will end up level. But I'm looking to be level here, okay, or even tip back a little bit, which I am. I'm tipped back just a little bit. So I can go and take the top one, tighten up all these bolts. Okay, that's good, we're tight, that's done. What we're going to need to do next is you've got the 2 wires here. This one goes back. It ends up going to the back of the unit where your transducer used to go. This is the power wire. Okay. On the power wire here, we have a red, black, and white wire that are twisted together, and then a green wire. The red, black, and white wire is the positive. The green is the negative. Okay. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take this, you have your case, in the hole that the wire goes through for the Vexilar, Yeah, press through the hole here and just get your wire started in here. Okay. Once you got it down like this, you can work on it fairly easily. Everything is easy to hold on to. But take the screws off the bottom of your case. I only have one left in here. There's 2 screws. Pull the case bottom off. Be careful with the battery coming out. Okay. What I want to do, I'll pull my battery out. At this point, I'll even take the connections off. The wire pushed through the hole. This is our power cable. What I need to do for the Ultra case is to take the 2 fork spade connectors, and these need to get crimped on here. Okay, so you crimp one on each one of the ends of these. When you're done crimping it, they need to go to the positive, which is here, the red. This one would go here, and the green one would go there. Undo the screws, put the spade terminals on, and put them in here. When you have it here, now it's connected through your on-off switch, and you can turn it off, and it doesn't get, you don't bump your remote accidentally, and it starts to spool when you're driving or whatever it would happen to be. So that's how you hook it up. When you're done, you put the battery back on. You need to strip the ends off of the 5-amp fuse holder. Just strip the ends. On your positive cable, that comes out of the bottom here. Twist it on here, that's what the wire nut is for. You twist the wire nut onto the positive cable, then this would get the crimp onto the end and you'd put it onto the positive actually, and would go on here. The negative just gets hooked up there. This is just to protect the easy ducer. What you want to do now, take your battery, put your hookups back on, press everything down and out of the way so when you lay it down it lays flat. Push it back in. Cover on. Okay, now we should have power to the easy ducer. Pull out one of your remotes. Turn the power switch on. I had the switch off when I was installing everything to keep everything protected. Turn it on. Hit the button on the remote. And you'll see it's going forward. If you hit the switch down, it'll stop it for the down movement. Once you hit this button, the reel will run for 5 seconds, automatically shuts itself off. I hit the button again, it reverses directions, and if you hit the switch up, it'll stop it from turning. So that is the function. Everything is wired right and everything is working that way. Now that we have that, you're going to want to grab the wire that comes out of the easy ducer that has the same connection that was on the end of your transducer. Bring it around the back. Plug it into the back of the unit where the transducer came from. Screw it back in. And that part is done. What you're going to want to do next here is take off the cover. Just grab a little screwdriver right in that slot and knock it out. When you pull it out, you'll see you've got a connector that looks just like the back of the connection that goes into the back of your Vexline unit. This is the metal style connector. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in and hook it up and twist it till it goes into the corresponding pins. Press it in tight. Thread it on and tighten it up. What we're going to need to do here to be able to get, one of the hard things here too is to get the wire inside the spool. It's a tight fit. Okay. First thing we want to do, put the wire through. It's always easier to get the wire through. Turn this over. And as you can see, especially with the metal connectors, it is a little easier fit than the plastic connectors, but the plastic connectors do go in. You can see it's in there. I'll be able to take the cover. Now what you want to do is, you don't need to put the cover on now, but I would take the cover, check, put it on here. If it sits in there, everything's sitting down low enough and it sits flat and everything is fine. So this is the way I do it.
I grab the cord down here, I push the purple paddle down, because if I push the button and it's rotating the opposite way, I need it to rotate this way, going backwards, so I can feed the line on this way. This will stop it from rotating forward and nothing will happen, and that's exactly what happened here. Now when I hit the button, it should rotate in the proper direction, and I can rotate and put the cord on. Okay. It is important to get this cord on neatly as you can, as you put it on. As you can see, that's all it needed to do. I have stops on here, so I don't have to go and reset the stops, but you'll see and understand how this works. Okay, so it went down. You see that there's a little bit of turn, and you can see you got a little bit of loose cord. What I do, tighten up the cord, pull it around, put the rubber band on it, okay, and tuck this. Make sure the wire tucks back under, otherwise you're going to have a bow out here and it's going to come out over the hole. Okay. So now I got the rubber band tucked on there, and you'll see every single time it'll pull it back in. It'll keep the cord all wrapped tightly on here, and everything will behave right. Okay. At this point, you are done with the installation. All that needs to be done is once it's in the up position and you're done, the reason that none of the holes are drilled for the cover is the cover for it to be up and down is going to be different for everybody's unit, and because the cord lengths will vary a bit. And you can put it on straight, turn it straight, and what you're going to need to do, and you're going to need to grab a 3/32 drill, and you're going to need to drill into each one of these. You don't have to go very deep. It is a very shallow screw. Okay. That's if you have the metal connectors. If you have the plastic connectors, you're going to have to use the spacer. The spacer has longer screws, so you're going to need to drill a little bit longer. Okay? And what happens with that is I'll pop this back off. If you have the plastic connector, you're going to take your spacer out, and that's going to go on first underneath on this pocket here. You drill it. Then the cover goes over the top and you screw it on, and that's what you use if you have the plastic cover. It gives you a little bit more depth for the diameter of the connections and give you some more room to work in there. But that is it. This one doesn't need it. So I'll put this on. The one thing I recommend for sure is that everybody goes, grabs their remote, grabs the Easy Ducer, and play with it for a while. Get used to it. Get used to how it behaves. This thing runs for 5 seconds, okay? And it's still running right now. The switch hasn't turned off. If you were to move the switch, the spool would spin. You don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that when you're lowering the unit, that the hole is there. Don't lower it onto the ice, because it's going to stop on the ice, and this is going to spin, and it's all going to unspool on you, okay? So just get used to using it. There are a few simple things that go with it to help you understand. The reason that we want to try to get this thing mounted level or tipped back is we need this cord right here to favor the back edge. If it favors and rides on this back edge, it'll run smoothly. If it favors the front edge and gets caught up into that gap, the opening where you put your cord through, then you will start to have it tripping the switch and it'll start to shut it. So if anything, get it tipped back this way a little bit, okay? You're always going to be fishing out in front here and that kind of stuff. Tip it that way. If you want to fish around back, and we have guys that like to fish around back because you can set up the unit, look over the top of the unit, and fish over the top, then being level is going to be more important. We need to talk about the Pro Pack and the Gens box. Okay, first we'll address the Gens box. On the Gens box here, we make a bracket that attaches, and you can screw it into the front, into the face. You also have to put in some washers back here to make sure everything's got to be level. But with this unit, you're going to need your piggyback style connectors, so you can easily put it into your battery, and then when you pull off your other connectors, they can connect to this, and you don't have to do anything. It's very simple. But it would be the same thing for the Pro Pack. They both have the battery in the back, and it's open, so you don't have to open your case and go through all that kind of stuff. With the Gens box, I do have people and customers that do mount it up here and through here and come out the back and have no problem. There is enough room to do it if you want to do it. It does mount well. The bracket is not necessary. It's just a nice option. But that's the only difference here, is how you would hook up the wiring and put it, if you want to put a bracket on this or not. But the Gens box is very nice. Here's the Pro Pack. The problems with the Pro Pack is this part is long and thin, which makes it weak and it wobbles a lot. We had a design, this is an aluminum angle. It's a bracket with the corresponding holes to hold on the Easy Ducer. Mounts up to the top here with one bolt, and mounts the bottom down here on the arc around the battery with one bolt. When this is on here, it stiffens the pack up. This thing is rock solid. Without it, if you try to mount to it, it's going to bounce and wobble all around, and it's not going to behave properly. When you're putting in this second screw here, you mount the top screw first, okay? When you do it, take it and tip it back. Remember, we want this tipped up a little bit. So tip it back, run your screw in there, tighten it down. When this is in here, this is rock solid, so with the Pro Pack, you have to have the bracket. Without the bracket, it's going to bounce so much you're not going to be happy. It can be done, but you need the bracket. But that's how you would install both of these. The installation is obviously the same with the Ultra Pack, except for how you do the electrical. This is what I like to do with the remote. I take the metal clip off the back of the remote. There's rubber bands that are in your packaging. Take the rubber band, loop it through it. Okay, so it's looped down here like this. The Velcro that comes with your package, I take the hard loop and put it on this side. I put the soft loop on this side, put it towards the tip of my rod. Okay, what I do, the reason the rubber band is on here, I'll run the rubber band all the way around the rod and run the Easy Ducer remote right through it. Okay, once it's on here, I've got the Velcro on here, sits on. Now that you have the rubber band on here, it can't get knocked down the hole. You don't have to worry about anything happening. Okay, when it sits here, I like it. This is the way I use it. It's right underneath my fingertip. So when I'm jigging up and down and I finally set the hook, I hit the button. When I hit the button, it's all one motion. The Easy Ducer's coming out of the hole and I start fighting my fish. This is the way I like to use it. You can hook up the remote and use it however you want. We have people using it several ways, but this is the way I use it. There's a second remote in the box if you want to. If you take the Velcro and you mount it up here, it'll allow you to walk around. When you get to the hole, you have a button. You put it down and boom, and it goes down. If you're going to hole hop and walk around and do those type of things, it's nice to have the remote right here, right next to your thumb. And it's very easy and convenient to walk down the ice.